So I'm back again, and he was told he couldn't use in the house. So that was his way of like going to use somebody else's house to do it in. And whoever the girl was that he did, I guess they used to, get decent together. And I guess they was testing something out in the car. She went out, and I got a phone call. He was real frantic, and this was shortly after my brother died, shortly after he OD'd. He was real frantic, and he was saying that like she went out, and I'm like, what is you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. He was like, she was in here, she was trying something, and she went out. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, what should I do? What should I do? And I was like, you know, I kick into high gear. Like, I'm a type of person like where there is a pressured situation or a high stressful situation, I am the person that is going to give you a step-by-step walkthrough of how to fix that situation. I can go boom, 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 these steps, like, because I just function off of I don't know, I just grew up functioning off of stressful situations, so I know how to deal with stressful situations like really quickly. Like, I can act very quick. However, when it comes to little small stuff, like, I'm horrible at it. I do not like it. This shit piss me off. Like, I do not like the little things. The little things bother the hell out of me. But the big things, like, I'm a clutch. Call me. Psych, don't call me. But so I already had it in my head, like, boom, I'm coming to get her. Where you at? We gonna switch cars. Like, I'm coming to get her. I'm gonna get her some help. I put myself in jeopardy, and I would do this a lot of times during our relationship. Like, I would bite bullets and put myself in jeopardy for him. But I basically told him, like, I'm coming. So he wasn't that far from where we stayed. So I got in the car. He got in my Jeep, and I got in his Suburban. And I took her to the hospital, which wasn't that far away. And told him to go home. He didn't listen. He wanted to come and help out and shit. And I'm just like, this ain't even him. So this let me know, like, that bothered him, because usually he's selfish. Like, he would have went home. He would have, or either he would have stood back somewhere, like, where he wasn't accessible, and tried to make sure I was okay, but he wouldn't have involved himself. But, like, this had really messed him up, because, like, he was staying on the scene, and I'm like, bro, like, you can't be here. Like, you need to go. And he not listening, and the staff in the hospital is paying attention to all of this, and I'm like, shit, I'm putting myself on the line, and this nigga fucking me up. Like, I'm lying, saying she was with me, but where the fuck you come from? And so I ended up helping her, and I feel like if it wasn't for me, she would have died, because he just couldn't process the answer, which most addicts can't. Like, it happens so commonly, and I had to forgive whoever left my brother, because I'm happy that situation happened, but I also was very pissed off and resentful to him that it happened, because he re-traumatized me. I'm already grieving my brother, and then you did that. That shit made me feel like, fuck you. Like, I don't want to be with you. Like, you're crashing out. Like, you're not even thinking straight no more. So, and I just kept feeling like this can't be my life. Like, I can't do it. So, but however, seeing his reaction, I did get to see that he did care, that, like, she was dying, and it did bother him. And but however, like, mentally, like, he just didn't know what to do, how to do it. Like, he just couldn't grasp that concept. So I do now understand, like, from an addict's perspective, like, it's not always easy as just, I'm gonna call the police. They need to make a law, if they haven't already, I don't know, but they need to make a law that if somebody does OD, that, like, the person that turns in the body, or brings the person in, will not be at fault, like, because no one forced anything on this person. Like, that was their choice. Let's get them some help and let's keep it moving. But I definitely put my life on the line and told them that, like, she was with me. I didn't, I knew of her from the neighborhood, and that I gave her a ride. I went to the store and came out. I just gave them some bull crap story, and she had OD'd in the car. She ended up, she was dead, so they ended up bringing her back. She ended up ripping her IV out of her arm. She ended up leaving the hospital, and basically, her reason was she wanted to get back to her kids, which is fair. But I did feel like real, like, fucked up about it. I'm like, God damn it, I put my life on the line for you, and you just hopped up like you ain't even been through shit. But I don't know, where her journey is, but I do know God wanted her to be here. So, if she ever see this, like, I hope, you are able to turn your life around and get straight with God, and, face your demons. We all had demons, and we all gotta face them. So, in this lifetime, I've faced my demons, and I've faced other people's demons. I've faced other people's demons just so I wouldn't have to face my own. And that's part of the reason why I liked being with Dante, was because it was a deflection of, like, having to work on me. So I do hope that, like, people who are struggling with addiction, like, just know that my heart goes out to you, and I know that it's easier said than done. And I know that you fighting some tough demons, but just know that God love you, and it's not over until it's over. So if you still here, keep fighting. I know it was I know it was hard watching him go through that. So, and my heart also goes out to family members who have to watch, and family members who struggle with being enablers. I was an enabler for a long time until I wasn't. So, I understand that as well. And there's help out here. They have groups. I've shouted out Coda and put Coda in another link. There are, like, groups for family members who are struggling with spouses, kids, whoever. There are groups. Like I said, when I went through my breakthroughs, I was not just laying down and giving up. I don't know if he was telling people, but I had been in therapy for 7 years. I was utilizing any resource that someone presented to me. Like, I was going to groups. I was sitting with people who were going through the same things I was going through. I was actively fighting for my life. I learned that I couldn't fix him any longer. I had to work on getting me stronger and getting me mentally stable so that I could get out. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't ready to leave. However, it just got so blatantly clear and dangerous that I had to leave. It was just like, it was no way around it. I felt death. And I didn't want to be caught up in that karma. But that happened. All he could say was sorry, and he basically didn't know what to do or who to call, and he knew I was the only one that he could call that would make the best decision. And I understood that. However, it was like, bruh, I just lost my fucking brother. Like, are you serious? Like, why would you put me through that? Like, you can't care about me. Like, you cannot care about me. Like, you literally can't care about me. Like, you can't care. Like, in a sense, you can't care, I gotta care. So, by that time, when I lost my brother, like, that was my breaking point. It was either my brother. No, so then my uncle died. My uncle had dementia. Like, I grew up with him in the household. I used to help take care of him at times. But my mom did the bulk of the work. And she did a phenomenal job taking care of her brother, who had dementia, like, for a long period of time. It was over 10 years. And he had finally died. I wasn't expecting his death to feel the way it felt. But that definitely took a toll on me. And Yeah, I think his death also, like, that was one of the hardest ones. Like, and I wasn't expecting that, like, because we knew he was sick and we knew he would die. Like, he overlived his life expectancy. So I thought, like, I would be prepared for that. And then, like, I had resentment to him because I saw my mom, you know, struggling to take care of him. Like, she in her 60s taking care of another 60-year-old. Like, and I thought, like, she was being robbed of, you know. No, I wasn't in her 60s. I think she was in her 70s taking care of another 70-year-old. Like, um, so I kind of felt like he was robbing her of her life. She couldn't live her life because she was stuck to the house to take care of him. That was a 24-hour job. And because he got to a point where he couldn't walk. He had to be fed, you know, liquids, and he had medications he had to take around the clock. Like, she really had her work cut out for her. She had to move him a lot because, you know, he would get bed sores, and she did a wonderful job. His skin stayed good. Matter of fact, the only time he got bed sores was when he went into a nursing home for her to get relief, so she could take a vacation. So that one hurt me, and I think that was when I realized, like, I told my supervisor at my job, I was like, you know, hey, look, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna check myself into the hospital. This time I did not do like a full hospitalization. I did a partial hospitalization. Okay, so a lot of people know about when you go into the hospital and you stay until they clear you to stay. You can go voluntary, or you can be temporarily, basically you can be told that you gotta be there, like court ordered that you gotta be there, and it's against your will, but it's for your safety. I can't remember the initials. It's something with a T. And then you have partial hospitalization, which kind of functions as hospitalization, but only you're not staying the night. So you go from morning to like probably like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Some hospital got different hours, but that's how the one I went to. And that was probably like my 3rd time doing partial hospitalization. And I found it to be more effective sometimes than being in a hospital and I'm worried about my child. Whereas, and I can do this and I can come home and still be with my child, but I'm still getting these coping skills and these resources that I need to get back to grounded, like get back to self. And so I did that, and Henrico's Doctors was one of the best ones I had, but also Chippenham got one too. And I like both. I met good people at both, but I think Henrico Doctors was my favorite one. And I'm scheduled to go to one next month. If I don't feel like I need it by next month, I won't go. If I do feel like I need it, you know, I'll go. I will see how, you know, I feel. I'm at a stage in my life where I trust myself and I listen to myself. My lips feel dry as a bum. But yeah, I'm listening to myself and trusting myself. So I'll know what to do when the time comes. Right now I feel fine, but I don't know. I'll see. Taking it one day at a time. But I went into partial hospitalization. For me, I felt like I was going in there for the deaths, because I'm like, I just had all these deaths, and like, it was concerning me too, though. Like, I was going through it, but I didn't feel shit. Like, it's weird to explain. Like, I felt so numb. I was going through these things, but I felt so numb, and that alarmed me. It was like, you supposed to be feeling something. Like, I barely cried. I barely really mentioned it a lot. And I just kind of use work and being a mom to kind of like, and dealing with his shit, like, to be like, to distract me from it too. So, and I just didn't have no space. I didn't have a safe space with him to feel those things. One thing I learned throughout my relationship with him was that if he felt, sorry, I'm moving my camera. I have to charge it. If he felt, I'm so sorry. If he felt guilty about, I'm trying to fix this with this charger. I'm gonna put it in the bowl. Resourceful. If he felt guilty about stuff, like, he would not validate my feelings or my experience about something. So like, he had a hard time like validating my feelings about my brother dying, any of those deaths, because I think for him, like, he didn't really know, how to cope with those situations themselves when he was dealing with death, or, like him struggling with drug addiction. Also, like, he didn't really know how to cope with those situations. So I was literally, I didn't have nobody. But when I went to partial hospitalization, that's when I would meet, oh my gosh, the ladies that I met there. Was there any men in that group? It was a guy in that group, but he ended up leaving. It was just the ladies. It was the ladies for me, because I have met some cool guys in the hospital with the girls and all that stuff. But this particular one, it was like sisterhood on sisterhood on sisterhood. And I met some really down-to-earth people. I feel like they saw me also for myself and who I was early on, even when I couldn't see it. Like, even when, because I ended up leaving before they did. And because when you're in there, like, people will come in at different points. Like, so sometimes you will see people leave, and then sometimes you'll see new people come in. And I just met some really cool people. I did some really cool crafting. We would make vision boards. We would make, my favorite activity we did in there was we made masks. And that's when I would learn that I wear a mask. You would think I would have known that, but I didn't quite conceptualize it that way. Even though I had watched Us, I knew the concept, but I just still didn't like put two and two together. But we made masks, and on the outside we made it beautiful, and on the inside we took newspaper and found words that showed how we really felt on the inside. And I don't even know if I kept that mask, but that was a really cool activity to see, how negative thinking really impact you, and how you really view yourself. And that's some free game that you can do at home now that you know. It's a little arts and craft activity you can do. But I really, got to learn more about positive affirmations and self-love, self-care. I got to learn that I distributed manipulative behavior. I cried when I realized I was manipulative too, like, because I always knew he was manipulative, but I didn't realize I was walking through life manipulative also. But my manipulation was different. So my manipulation looks like, when my needs are not getting met, instead of me saying my needs are not getting met, or, I'm sad, or I need this, or I need that, what I'll do is suggest or hint around, because I do not like rejection. I do not want to hear no. And that stems from childhood. Like, my father always, he either made promises or he either broke them. He made promises and he broke them. Or he either would just flat out, this was his no. He gonna see what he can do. If he said he was gonna see what he could do not fucking hold your breath. So, like, I just got used to, like, not being dependent on asking people for stuff, because it used to hurt when he wouldn't provide those things for me. So it kind of messed up my trust of people being able to help me and provide my needs for me. So I would go through adult life thinking I had to do all of that myself, and I would be left with an empty cup, because it would get overwhelming sometimes to do all that for yourself, and then you want to just distract yourself because you're tired of doing all that stuff for yourself, and you do it for other people. So it's like a I was wired wrong, and I'm fixing these wires. I'm putting them in the right place, and figuring them out, being able to recognize, like that's one of my red flags. But yeah, so like I would not have effective communication about what I need. I would suggest, or I would get mad if my needs wouldn't get met, even though I didn't tell you what needed to get met. Like I would just feel like you should know what I need. So I did learn that there, and learn that in my relationship. I definitely did that wrong. I feel like accountability and self-awareness is a big one to change your life around. You have to take responsibility and be accountable for your actions. Sometimes I was too accountable and too self-aware for things that I didn't even do. I do that too. Like I will apologize, and I will take responsibility for stuff I didn't even do, because I had to wear the guilt and the wrong a lot throughout life, even before I met him, and definitely when I met him I had to do it. So yeah, there I just and I connected with so many ladies. I even talked to one of them recently, and I told her like we should have a reunion. That would be like real fun, just to see how everybody's doing. But yeah, that's an option, and that helped me a lot. I met a sweet girl who her parents were narcissistic, and I had learned the word narcissistic in 2017 when I started therapy from the car accident. And when I learned that term, I found out that my father was a narcissist, an undiagnosed narcissist. I never dug any deeper. I got tired of like making these excuses for him about why he was the way he was, like, because I tried to find every reason why, like, and those reasons still stick, and it was valid. But now I'm mature enough to know, like, those things do shape people and make them the way they are. However, I do not have to, be re-traumatized. That doesn't mean I have to be re-traumatized just because I understand. But when I heard about narcissism again, it was because I had started to open up and share some stuff. I wasn't even sharing big stuff. Like, I was sharing little stuff. And she basically was like, oh my gosh, like, it sounds like your partner is narcissistic. And she was like, I found this group and you should come. And so I had also heard of CODA at this hospital, and I had started going to codependency meetings, and I literally had to beg this man just to go. I used to have to tell him I was going to these meetings to heal daddy wounds. So I had to be strategic. I could not just come out and tell him that it was because of him. And with most narcissists, you will find out that they lack so much self-awareness that if you do tell them that you're going to get some help because of somebody else, like, they will believe you because they don't think it's them, and they don't think anything is wrong with them. So yeah, I would go to that group after I would go to CODA. No, so I did CODA first with I did CODA first by myself, and then some of the girls from the hospital came, and that further let us bond and get to know each other. We even set up activities like where you know how you pay to go to a rec room? We ended up doing it really cheap. Instead of going to a rec room, we went to Dollar Tree and bought plates, and we had permanent markers, and we wrote our thoughts and feelings that we just wanted to like smash. We read them out loud. We had music, and we also cleaned up after ourselves. So we went to a desolate parking lot, and we cleaned up after ourselves after we had brooms and all that stuff, and it was just like such a good time. Like, I missed that. We would also go out to eat sometimes after. With CODA, I feel like CODA was good for me to realize that, like, I was an empath and he was a narcissist. I was a person who felt validated by my needs, by filling other people's needs, and I also had certain flaws that were attached to me and that he most likely struggle with narcissistic abuse, but they don't talk about that in Coda. They just have characteristics. So I just want to be clear about that. But it put it in perspective for me this way. But he was narcissistic and he needed someone that was going to fill those needs for him. And so we were codependent. With empaths and narcissists, I will say this. We're all cut from the same cloth. It's just that with narcissists, they feel like they've been hurt so deeply that they do not want to ever be hurt like that again, and they usually do the hurting. They become the hurters. So I do have a level of compassion for them. However, I will not be victimized by you. But I see you. I understand, and I hope that you do get some help. But some of you will not, because you cannot see yourself. You lack self-awareness. And for those of you who are not that far gone, like, get help. Like, it's hard work, but you can do the work. And you can face your shadow self and, get through it. So, for empaths, it's the same thing. It's extreme trauma that happened, childhood trauma, some type of trauma that happened, and we have been through so much pain. Instead of us being the abusers, we feel like we want to be the helpers, the healers, the fixers, because we don't want people to experience the same pain we went through, and we know what it feels like to not be helped. We know what it feels like to not have nobody there or to not have nobody care. So we kind of overdo. I feel like they're the extremes, right? So for me, I try to focus on coming in this middle ground, and on this journey, I have just been searching for peace, period. Just being in the middle, having my boundaries set, and finding my peace. Sometimes you'll see me use great hearts. If you look at social media, I use great hearts because I don't want to be too full of the light and I don't want to be too full of the dark. I just want to come in the middle sometimes. But I do know there are situations where I have to tap into my darkness, and I know there are situations where I have to tap into my light. So I'm cool with having discernment from God to know which one is which. But to just be, I want to be at peace. So yeah. I would then grow out of the Coda group. I got what I needed to get from there, and I met some really awesome people there, even outside of the hospital people. And I would start going to this narcissistic abuse group. I finally went ahead and, listened and came. My first meeting, she was there too, and that helped. I did not share. I was scared to death. I did not like group settings. And also another thing, like, I think it was only one other black person in there. So I would say, like, dear white people, like the same way you feel uncomfortable in certain settings, where you are the minority, we do too. And usually we are the minorities in certain settings when you climb to certain positions and spots in life. So just always keep those things in mind. Race is a topic that needs to be a topic, and we need to not act like it doesn't exist. However, I also agree that we need to learn that we're human beings and we need to treat each other as such. As long as a person is acting like a human being, treat them like one. And if they're not, go about your business. But I will say, like, once I kept coming, I probably came another go round, and she might not have been there. She might have been there. I can't remember. And I think what ended up helping me share was I got to see these people as people. And they started sharing their stories, and it made me comfortable enough to share some of mine. And I didn't even share even crazy story. I shared a story about how when his car broke down. Well, first of all, like, my car, I hit a deer, and I had to get my car fixed from hitting the deer. And basically, his car transmission so happened to go out when my car had the damage. So they ended up cutting me a check, and I was going to get my car fixed. And against my better judgment, he was like, and I felt like he had the money, because at the time, like, he had his own business and he was doing all right money wise. Like, in the end, money wise, he was all right. Like, I really wasn't even paying too many bills at that point. However, I think he started to probably mess up money, because he did start expecting me to like do 50-50 with him. And I'm like, bruh, you know, I done did 100% and for years. And like, you finally at a position where you can help. Like, what you mean? Like, I'm still paying bills. I just ain't paying the rent, like the bills that's the common household bills. But I'm still paying a $600 car note. I'm still paying, you know, all these different bills, like our insurance, like the stuff that he don't do. So like, even though he was paying a lot of like the community bills, like the light bill and all that stuff, like I was still paying bills too, and I didn't want to hear that 50-50. I didn't want to hear it at all, like, because I had did 100%, like, majority of our relationship. Like, I'll give him 2 or 3 years of paying consistent bills, and not all 2 or 3 years was he paying bills by himself at all. Like, I'd give him 1 year where he probably paid bills by himself, and yet I still was paying bills myself too. So, it just wasn't the community bills. But most of the relationship, I had to pay my bills and my debts, plus the bills of the house and all other expenses to fund activities, all that shit. So I wasn't trying to hear that. However, this time he kind of manipulated the situation. He was like, you know, I had to do something with the money and blah blah blah, like, and he was like, if you pay to get my car fixed, you know, I'm the one that's leaving in and out, you know, the most anyway, and I'll get, you know, by next week I had the money for your car to get fixed. I just knew something wasn't right, but like at the same time, it was like, once again, I'm conditioned to do for him first. I'm not conditioned to do for me first. I'm not conditioned to put me first. So I go against my better judgment, my better will, and that shit hurt. Like, it really hurt. I cried, and everything about that. Like, he ended up getting his car fixed. I ended up, my car fucked up to this day. Like, my car is parked at my mom's house. I got another car that's functional. I ended up buying my brother's car, thank God, because he got a new car, and I ended up buying his car. And my car is parked, which is crazy because I'm paying still. I mean, I'm almost done with my car note, but I'm paying a car note still on that car. And it's just that the damages cost so much. Like, it was better for me to go ahead, buy the car for my brother, and have reliable transportation than to drive around with that car, and it could probably go out in the day now. And it only had one headlight, and bro used to let me like drive. Like, I had to go to the mountains one time, and instead of him being like, you know, take my car, like, he let me go out the house and drive in the dark on crazy roads. And like, that's when I just started feeling like he was so far gone. Like, he didn't care about me no more. I didn't care about me no more. Like, I need to get the hell out. So I had told that story about like the car situation, which like was literally not even the worst story. So when I told that story though, like, everybody in the room, and I told some other parts of another story, everybody in the room gasped. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that I was in a fucked up situation. Because I was like, y'all gasping over this shit? Like, well, y'all don't even know the half. And then I felt immediate guilt. And I was like, well, I just told on him. And like, now they looking at him sideways. They don't even know him. Like, he had put it in my head that I was spinning stories to make him look bad, like I didn't tell the whole truth and stuff like that. Now that I'm gone and I'm free out that relationship, like, he was a goddamn lie. I was telling the truth. He just didn't want to deal with the truth or accept the truth. And like it literally, like being with a narcissistic person, like literally is trauma to the brain. You get brainwashed. There's terms like for I remember Charlotte taught me the term gaslighting. Like I didn't even know what gaslighting was. We was having an argument and like he left out and Charlotte was like, he's gaslighting you. And I was like, what is that? And she pulled up YouTube and showed me a video and a definition. And I was like, oh, he really is. And so, like, gaslighting is basically when somebody tries to, basically, like, if somebody said the sky is blue and then they argue with you and be like, no, it's green. It's green. Don't you see it? It's green. Like, they basically try to make you believe their lies and you don't trust your own reality anymore. You're trusting theirs. And I had got that bad off that I felt like his reality was my truth. And when he would die, I would have to deal with that. Like, because when he died, I basically was awakened to who do I trust? I don't even trust myself. So how can I trust y'all? Like, and then it just got to a point where I didn't even realize, like, I couldn't trust nobody because I couldn't trust myself. So then I had to figure out how to trust myself, and then I could figure out who to trust. And I'm so thankful that God did not give up on me, because as soon as I learned how to trust myself and get back in touch with myself, like, I woke up to a very good support system. Like, I had isolated myself from all my friends, just about, like, I didn't know who to trust as far as my friends. And I was fortunate enough to gain my friends back. Like, I must have been a good person to y'all. Cause like, y'all wasn't mad at me or anything. Like, y'all didn't have no ill will towards me. Y'all definitely welcomed me back with like, y'all welcomed me back. So I appreciate that. I definitely had some people that I had to tell off, and I definitely had a lot of anger. Some of that anger I didn't feel like was mine. I felt like some of that anger was his, and I felt like some of the anger was mine. So I feel like if, you dealt with me during the grieving stage and I gave you unwarranted anger, or even if I gave you anger and it was warranted, me now, I don't want to, deal with conflict with anger. I would like to deal with conflict with level head and level thoughts, and a level conversation. So I do apologize to anybody who I was not kind to during that time. I do know everybody know, like, anger is a part of grieving. However, I still want to apologize. Like, I feel like I know my character. I know who I am. And, I didn't like reviewing that part of me being pissed off and angry. However, some people, like, you did wrong me. I feel like some people did take advantage of me, and I had a valid feeling and a valid point, and I felt like some of you, I had a conversation with you and you tried to rebuttal as if what I just said didn't exist or didn't happen like that, and it did. However, I do see that I have to take accountability that during that time when I was taken advantage of, I did not advocate for myself. I definitely did not stop and say, hey, pump your brakes, slow it down a little bit, like,